And we're live. Guys, we have a special guest interview today. Frank Lopez Jr., U.S. Border Patriot. You guys may have heard about Frank recently through some less than, kosher news, I guess, if you want to call it that. Less than, through some of the local news media, mainly one in particular that we will ask Frank Lopez here in a little bit. One thing I want to bring up right quick is that this show is sponsored by the re-elect Roberto Ruiz for County Commissioner Precinct 4. This episode is brought to you by him. This podcast sponsored by him, and we won't waste any more time, and we're going to go ahead and bring on Frank Lopez Jr., U.S. Border Patriot, guys. You've heard him on recently in the Eagle Pass newsletter. So special that he gets, back-to-back front covers without paying for it, guys. Without paying for it, we know you got to pay them some bucks to come out in their news broadcasts and stuff. But without any further ado, Frank Lopez Jr., U.S. Border Patriot. Frank,
Hey, what's up, Isaac?
hey Frank.
Good to see you, brother.
Good. It's been too long, Frank. Frank,
Yeah.
we brought you on here today, and we've been talking about you lately because you've been splashing the headlines lately with the Eagle Pass newsletter, and we have to ask, what the hell is going on, Frank?
Hey, bro. So you know what happened? What's going on, Isaac? In this country, there's an awakening that's taking place, bro. People are realizing that our government, there's elements within our government that want to control us. They're in bed, bro, with big business. They're in bed with the media. They're in bed, of course, with the political, operators within, for instance, in this case, the Republican Party, which has been taken over by liberal progressives, bro. There's a fight, a civil war in the Republican Party, just like in the Democrat Party. The socialists have taken over the Democrat Party. Look at what Biden's doing in our country, AOC, open borders, disease coming across the border, brother, all kinds of things happening in this country. And so, people, they want to control the masses. And what I mean by they, for instance, in this case, not just government, but there are certain people, elitist establishment within the Republican Party that were very upset because I have submitted a letter of intent, Isaac, to get a place on the ballot following the March 1 primaries. And it's what people don't understand is that, when I submitted that letter of intent to the Secretary of State, I was saying, hey, hold my place. It's my intent to file as a candidate following the primaries in March. Now, that doesn't mean I do it. That doesn't mean that, in the political world, you're holding a place. Now, what I'm convinced of, because, you got people like the Eagle Pass News leader, another liberal, hired gun, what I call hit rags. They're hit rags because that's a kind of a nickname for newspapers, is the rags. So this hit rags, you pay money, and they run whatever kind of story the payer wants them to run. And so I've upset things in the political world here, because I've called out Congressman Tony Gonzalez as the liberal Democrat that he is. He's the guy that is allowing Laughlin Air Force Base to be used as a staging point. Remember, I was in the Border Patrol for 30 years, and we had what we called staging points to where illegal aliens were brought into the country and they were smuggled into the country. So Laughlin Air Force Base has been allowed, and as a 30-year Border Patrol agent, I was like, man, this has just got to stop. And so when I took that step to challenge Tony Gonzalez, of course, people were very upset. They want the status quo to continue. They want people to continue flooding the country. And Tony's in bed with these guys. He's his office in San Antonio is outside CD 23, and it is outside his district, and is housed inside an Endeavor's facility, bro. Endeavor's is one of three major corporations They got over $2 billion from Health and Human Services to quote unquote resettle people, to move people into the country. And they're operating a big facility in Devers out in Pecos, Reeves County, in the city of Pecos. They're running a facility out there. And there's other players, Baptist Child and Family Services, Catholic Charities that are involved with these NGOs, non-government organizations that are moving people. And so what does that have to do with me showing up on the front page of your local newspaper there, Isaac? Let me spell it out for you. Everybody knows that Victor Wheeler, El Vendido, and that's the sold out, person, is the editor-in-chief of the Eagle Pass News Leader. And people there in Eagle Pass know that he is married to the director of Mission Border Hope. And everybody in Eagle Pass knows, and through other region and through my reporting, they're realizing that the places like the Mission Border Hope are facilitating the movement of people into the country. And so what does that have to do with Tony Gonzalez? Victor Wheeler and Tony Gonzalez are best friends, bro. They're best friends. And Tony even had Victor Wheeler as a special guest, his honored guest, a guest of honor, special guest up in Washington, D.C. when he was sworn in as a congressman. And so basically, we also know from your reporting, because you've thrown all these documents, all these facts, you've thrown them up there. It's all public access, and anybody can see that. Tony Gonzalez pays the Eagle Pass News Leader to run whatever Tony Gonzalez wants them to run. And so we saw in this last election, the primary election, not the general election of 2020, the primary, which was runoff with his opponent, Raul Reyes at the time, that the Eagle Pass News Leader ran unsourced stories, bro, hit jobs. It was a journalistic hit job by a hit rag to damage the credibility, the integrity, the character of a United States Army military veteran, a retired lieutenant colonel, my good friend Raul Reyes. And so I'm not surprised that once I announced my intention, I have not submitted at this point a candidate application. Once I announced that intention, they didn't like it. And the reason they didn't like it, Isaac, is because Tony is a liberal Democrat. The residents of CD23 have realized that he infiltrated the Republican Party. And this infiltration is taking place all across the nation. The reason I'm outside right now is because I'm in Seguin, Texas. I'm gonna head back, out west. But I was in Houston last night. I'm visiting some people, talking to them about the change that needs to take place in CD23, because our congressman is in bed with the globalists, bro, that are letting these people come into our country. And it's hurting us. Our tax dollars, our children's future is at stake here. So you ask what's going on. I know that's a lot of information for people, but it really boils down to this. Our congressman, Tony Gonzalez, is a liberal. He's a LULAC puppet, and he's controlled by the Open Borders crowd. His best friend or good friend there in Eagle Pass is Victor Wheeler, the editor-in-chief of the Eagle Pass News Leader. And so he's running interference for him, and Victor is, because also Victor has skin in the game. His wife is the director of Mission Border Hope, and Tony Gonzalez is in bed with the NGOs like Mission Border Hope, who are moving people into our country, and to the point to where his office is in an Endeavors facility, an NGO in San Antonio. And so that's what it is. They want business to continue, and they know that I am the true conservative. I'm an ordained minister. I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative who believes in God, the Bible, freedom, faith, and they don't like the fact that I stepped outside the box. I went outside their template, and I'm going to challenge him directly come March 1st after the primary.
Now,
so that's what's going on.
That's one of the things we noticed, because what they have been saying, as far as I think I picked up the first article. What they're really bashing you about is that you got kicked out, you got removed from the party. You were as the chairperson for the Valverde party, correct? Can you?
Yes, I was.
Can you correct that? You corrected there?
Yeah, I can definitely correct it. Look, what happened, bro, was on December 9th, which was a Thursday. I went and submitted my letter of intent uh, with the Secretary of State. That's a right given to every American to run for public office. That's something that has been paid for by the blood of soldiers and by the blood of patriots. That here in America we can run for office. Now, not through our history, you go back and we had Whigs and we had Republican, Democrat, etc. So they what's upset them is I'm not running as a Republican. But hey, I don't have to run as a Republican, especially when you see that the process is rigged. It's rigged in the sense that the person with the most money, in this case, establishment, open borders money, was in Tony Gonzalez's bank. And so I said, look, man, if I jump in the primary, uh, because I don't have, nowhere near $1 million, uh, he would probably win because he just floods the mailboxes. You're probably getting mailers in your mailbox, and people are getting mailers, and you would see newspaper articles, and you would see TV commercials and radio ads. $1 million buys you a lot of things. And so I said, how do I give Texans who are tired of Tony Gonzalez, who are tired of the daily, crossing of people into our country illegally? Están traspasando en nuestra casa. They're trespassing into our house, into our state, into our nation. And so I went and filed that paperwork, and there was a deadline on Monday, December 13th. So I honestly did not know, bro. And I honestly did not know that when I filed that paperwork on the 9th, I effectively stepped down as the chairman of Valverde County. And I took in 2 candidate applications on the 13th and uploaded them. They were uploaded and into the system, the Secretary of State system. And so what happened with that is that an emergency meeting had to be called by Matt Rinaldi, the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. And this has happened before. Look, chairman stepped down, chairman quit. This is a volunteer job. Nobody pays you. You work your butt off. And you see me working my butt off. And the people of Valverde County and the region know that I was pushing hard for Republican candidates, even as far, post-election, pushing for, in the general election, for Republican candidates. I've brought and hosted Republican candidates that come to visit the border. They come down here to see what's happening. I just had 2 candidates from Republicans from District 60 and 64. I just met tonight here in Seguin another gentleman that wants to come down. I've met with most of the candidates are running for governor that are Republican. They've been down here. So all this stuff about it, I got excommunicated, kicked out, and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll tell you what, brother. After this is all over, I could go back to the next election cycle and jump and throw my name in as a Republican if I wanted to. So this was a strategic move, Isaac. It was a strategic move because I knew. And you watch the primaries, bro. What's going to happen is probably Tony Gonzalez is going to run. He's not even paying attention to his 2 primary challengers. There's 2 women in the fight. He's not even paying attention to them. Es más, he's not even paying attention to the Democrat socialist guy, John Lita, that's going to run against him in November. He's paying attention to the conservative, the real conservative, the real patriot, the real person as a 30-year Border Patrol agent, as a former military veteran, United States Army military policeman, the guy that's going to give him a run for his money, bro. Because I'm going to work my butt off here in City 23 to show people that we don't deserve our children's future to be squandered in the form of taxes going to illegal aliens who are breaking our laws, violating our laws. And so let me finish the little, explanation. So on the 13th, bro, they called the special meeting. The executive committee for Valverde County elected a new chairwoman for the Republican Party, Laura Allen. Laura Allen was a former chairwoman, and she was also the county judge in Valverde County. Very knowledgeable person, a very capable person. And so what she did, she was sworn in. She took the 2 candidate applications that I have filed in earlier in the week on that Monday. They met on Friday. They met Thursday evening. The executive committee did. And they adjourned, and then they met on Friday, and they elected Laura Allen on Friday. which would have been what, about the 15th or so. And so what happened, bro, was a procedural matter. Look, I went and researched. I found out I found out that there's counties throughout Texas, like for instance, Atascosa County. One guy by the last name of Vaughn in Atascosa County is going to run for a justice of the peace position. Mr. Vaughn was also the county chair, and guess what he did? He threw his name in the hat to be a candidate as the chairman for justice of the peace, but yet he accepted that same day a form to run for justice of the peace by a woman named Marian Knowlton, another Republican, and so he uploaded that information into the system. So Mr. Vaughn did what I did, in that he was an announced candidate for a position and took in the application of another candidate and uploaded. This is a procedural matter that was rectified when a new chair was elected for Valverde County. And that new chair, very simply, she took the forms from the candidates and she signed her name over my name. Y hecho. It's done. That's it. All this other stuff, bro, it's a very obvious smear. What they want to do is they want to find something wrong. See, the ball in this case, Isaac, is the story, and you see all this sensationalist, language. Oh, he's been excommunicated. What is it? A church? The Republican Party is not a church. I was not excommunicated. I was not booted out of the Republican Party. Like I told you, I could come back the next election cycle and throw my name in the hat as a Republican if I wanted to. And the reason that I was not booted from the party is because I can come back and join the party later. And I'll tell you what, run as a candidate. I could even throw my name in the hat for a precinct chair in the Republican Party. I can go out and politic for Republican parties. I've been interviewing and hosting. I have been hosted by Republican groups since this took place just a week or two ago. People know that what they're doing, Isaac, here is throwing out what seems like, oh, Frank messed up, Frank did a bad thing. Chairman died, chairman quit, chairman leave, chairman go on vacation. And in their place, the Republican Party of Texas has mechanisms in place for situations such as this. And then as I went and looked at the Secretary of State database, there were people that were actually entered into the database after December 13th. That stuff had to be filed by certain date, etc. But applications were received after that deadline. So Tony Gonzalez here thinks that he has a right to the vote of people in Texas. Specifically, he thinks he has a right because he is the Republican incumbent, that everybody that calls themselves a Republican should line up and just be quiet and just go with him because he's the incumbent. But he has betrayed our conservative values. He has betrayed the platform of the Republican Party. He has betrayed his oath to the Constitution because Tony Gonzalez is aiding and abetting. He is facilitating the movement of illegal aliens into the country, people that do not have a legitimate, valid claim to asylum in our country, bro. These people have come overseas into our hemisphere. They've been living in South America, Peru, etc., in places away from the conditions that they say they are escaping. But what happened is this: January of this year, Biden is sworn in as the president, and as early as July, August of last year, he had started signaling to people, "You're going to be welcome in America. You're going to have the green light." And that's why we started seeing these numbers start creeping up of people coming across, the border. And then, so what took place with that, Isaac, were the pull factors, what are called pull factors, magnets, started attracting people to where we had 15,000 more or less people living underneath the international port of entry in Del Rio, Haitians, bro, that were being brought over. Why? Because of the pull factor. And what was a pull factor? Biden's green light. Biden's green light, come over. They knew that when Democrats got into power, socialists, that they were going to work to allow them to come into our country. And some people say, well, explain that more. Yeah, I'll explain that more. The word went out to NGOs, non-government organizations, to start preparing for this. And they had already been preparing before that. Uh, Nonprofit organizations like Endeavors, who I mentioned earlier. Endeavors is the corporation that has housed Tony Gonzalez's office in San Antonio outside his district. Well, Endeavors had been buying hotels and properties up and down this border, bro, for years now. They've been buying. Why? Because they knew that they were going to uh, be in a position where all these people were going to be coming in, and they knew they were going to make a lot of money. And it wasn't just Endeavors; it was Catholic Charities, which is very active down south, Baptist Child and Family Services, and right there where you live, Isaac. I've seen your report on Mission, Border Hope, y el movimiento de toda esa gente, the movement of all those people, and that's it's costing us. People say, people need to ask, what's in it for Mission, Border Hope? What's in it for the director? The wife of the editor-in-chief of the Eagle Pass News leader, Victor Wheeler. What's in it for these NGOs? They're not doing it for free. They're, as a matter of fact, here in Del Rio, Valverde Border Humanitarian Coalition, they've submitted bills before. When George Soros was moving all the campaigns in all the caravans in the Trump administration, they submitted bills. They wanted to get paid back. And I heard recently that they did the same here recently. The fact of the matter is Tony Gonzalez is a liberal Democrat who has infiltrated the Republican Party. And everywhere I'm going, and the phone calls I'm getting, the texts I'm getting, the chats I'm getting, bro, they say the same thing. We know now why you did what you did, Frank. Last night I was at a meeting in Houston with a bunch of patriots that are fed up with what's happening. And when I told them about what's happening and the fact that I was considering running as an independent, jumping in the race as an independent come March 1st, they cheered, brother. They cheered. And afterwards, especially because they knew about Tony Gonzalez, there's a woman there that told me, Frank, when Tony was running for office, I supported him. I gave him money. And then he started doing what he started doing. And she said, now I'm his biggest troll on his Facebook page. And I slam him for what he's doing, because she realized too late that Tony Gonzalez is a liberal Democrat who infiltrated the Republican Party, like Dan Crenshaw and others that have infiltrated. They call themselves conservatives, but I'll tell you what, conservatives don't go to the Air Force and say, hey, let us land 737 jets on a military installation to fly illegal aliens away from the border to their final destinations. There's a guy running for governor in Pennsylvania who is a former congressman. He's running for re-election, and he's talking about the plane loads of people that are landing in Pennsylvania, his home state. And some of those have originated out of Laughlin Air Force Base, right where I live in Del Rio, Texas. And I've documented, the planes leaving. Tucker Carlson ran that story. I've documented the buses of people. I remember one day I said, hey, we got a bus leaving the NGO, our local non-government organization, full of people. They were followed all the way to San Antonio, where they offloaded. They got driven right up underneath the plane and get off the plane and get off the bus and get on a plane without being checked. You got Americans taking their boots off, Americans emptying out their pockets, and yet busloads of illegal aliens are being brought into the country because liberal Democrat Tony Gonzalez is a magnet for lawbreakers. You got to remember, bro, he was during the primary election, he was supported by people like district directors of LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, who get money from George Soros through the Open Societies Foundation. So you got to follow the money. And you know what? I'm looking forward to the day when I can, and I do it right now, right here in your show, Isaac. You're going to hear first, straight from my mouth. If and when I jump in as an independent candidate, hey, Tony Gonzalez, I want to challenge you to a debate. I want to be on stage with you. And we will talk about how you call yourself a conservative, asking the Department of Defense to allow United States Air Force military airstrips to be used to fly out illegal aliens into the country. And I'm going to ask him, hey, Tony Gonzalez, explain how your office is outside your district. It's outside the place that you're supposed to represent. It's housed inside the Endeavor's facility right across the street from corporate headquarters of Endeavor's in San Antonio. Endeavor's is one of three companies that got no bid contracts, no bid, no questions asked. You want the money? Here's the money. $2 billion from Health and Human Services to house children into this country. And you know what, Isaac? This is, let's talk about the children, brother. Let's talk about the children. This is this is the awareness month for human trafficking. This is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And so, hey, Tony Gonzalez, when we have this debate, you know, and we'll pay for the Civic Center in Del Rio, bro. We'll make it a big throwdown in the Civic Center. I'll ask him to his face, you know, during Human Trafficking Awareness Month in January, did you go to the Department of Defense, you know, and ask him to stop allowing private charter aircraft, 737s, to fly into Laughlin Air Force Base? Did you stop, Tony Gonzalez, when children are being trafficked across the border by the cartels and they're being lost in the United States? Because, for instance, here in Texas, I just heard today, I was at an event where Alan West was speaking here in Seguin, Texas, and he talked about Texas being the number one state for human trafficking. And I'm going to prove that he's a liberal Democrat. There's people in San Antonio. I'll tell you, let's get down into the weeds here, brother. Why do I keep calling Tony a liberal Democrat? I'm talking to people in his home base, Bexar County, San Antonio, that the moment he threw his name in the hat and they looked who he is, where he comes from, what he's done, they said, man, that guy's a Democrat. And he's running a scam on the Republican elected voters of District 23. People in San Antonio know who he is, and they're upset. They're ready to expose him. And I'll tell you why. Remember what happened on January 6th. They had an election up in Congress. There was the opportunity, not the election, there was the Congress convened. The Congress convened to look at the results of November 2020 election. And at that point, Senator Cruz, when the Electoral College votes came from Arizona, Senator Cruz objected to accepting those results of the Electoral College vote and sending it back to the state legislature in Arizona. In other words, Senator Cruz said, hey, look, there's something with this Electoral College count from Arizona. Let's send it back to the state legislature, and they will have 10 days to look at what took place there. Now, remember, Isaac, that the state legislature of any state represents the people. They represent the will of the people. And so what Senator Cruz was saying is, let's send back this vote to Arizona and see if it is really the will of the people. And Tony Gonzalez voted no against giving the citizens of Arizona the right to look at the vote as represented by their legislators, to look at the results of the Electoral College vote. And he did the same thing for Pennsylvania. He voted no to election integrity. Remember that. He voted no to election integrity. He voted no to the state legislature from Pennsylvania to look at the results of that vote. So that was January 6th. Then what happens? The Democrats say, hey, we want to form a special committee to look at all these people that were up in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. And they wanted to form what is now known as the J6 committee. The J6 committee convened congressmen from both sides of the aisle to look at the actions of the people that were up there in D.C. on that day. And now we got stuff coming out that really causing to question the narrative. The narrative. I'm getting some. I'm getting some text here real quick. Anyways, bro, he voted for that. He voted for that, and I'm sorry, I got a little bit distracted here. He voted for that January 6th committee to be created, and so now we have American citizens who have been in jails, bro. They've been housed in there, and that's why I keep calling him a liberal Democrat. He acted like a Democrat would. He acted like a liberal would. He acted like somebody like Nancy Pelosi did. They voted for this committee. And remember, Tony ran during the election season as the one that was going to fight socialism. We pulled up his voting records, and we'll post those, bro. And you share them with your audience. When you look at that diagram, it tells you that Tony is the number 2 liberal voter in the Republican Party. There's only one other guy votes liberal that votes with the Democrats on a more consistent basis than Tony. Only one guy of all the 100 or so Republicans in Congress. We got those records. What's the source for that? I need that source. I'm talking to somebody back here, so we can throw it up on the air here. Because Tony, Isaac, Tony, what he does is he uses his hit rag, the Eagle Pass News leader, as the hatchet man. And so that is at GovTrack, GOV track. And you go to GovTrack and look for Tony Gonzalez there. Now, watch out that you don't get the other liberal Democrat, Anthony Gonzalez, that's from Ohio, bro. There's a guy up there. And anyways, there's 2 Anthony Gonzalez, and they're both voting with Nancy Pelosi. They both voted against Trump. They both stabbed Trump in the back. They're both Republicans, bro. The Anthony Gonzalez up north, he's also a Republican. He's one of the 10 that voted to impeach Trump. I mean, anyways, here I'm looking at this chart right here. Look, let me get it in front of the camera right there. You see that? Do you see that chart right there that's available at Gov? So I'm going to zoom in, and right there, right in here, bro, where you can see it. Let me see. They're writing, it says Gonzalez. Look at where he is on that spectrum. He's right. He's the closest, second closest to the blue Democrats, bro. Can you see that, Isaac, right there?
He's not red. He's definitely purple somewhere.
He's definitely purple, man. And you can see it right there. And you're going to get a text right now with that information. We'll get it to you, bro, in Messenger or something. So so this is my message, bro. Don't fall for the smoke and mirrors. Don't fall for the smoke and mirrors. Todo ese movimiento, all that stuff, these news stories, and Frank's a terrible guy, and he's been excommunicated, he's been booted out. Brother, I've been talking to people, SREC members, state Republican Executive Committee members throughout the region, throughout the state. I'm talking to conservatives in the Republican Party that realize that Tony is a liberal Democrat and that I did what was necessary. Let me give you an example. Look, I'm a former military policeman in the Army, 3 years. But even in that short span of time, bro, I learned a lot of things because I was very fortunate to be surrounded by very wise men, very wise soldiers, very wise non-coms, non-commissioned officers, and officers. And so I learned a few things. And here's one of the things I learned. When you have X amount of warriors in the field, you have X amount of soldiers, say you get 10 and the battle is on. You got to be wise, Anthony. I'm sorry, Isaac. You got to be wise in how you use those resources you have. And so I could have jumped into the primary, but it's rigged. It's rigged so that the person with the most money wins the primary. And I knew I wasn't going to have, near the money I would need to challenge $1 million. But if I waited and I tactically used the resource I have, which is me, a patriot, a conservative, a Christian, a constitutionalist, a border patrol agent, United States Army veteran. If I waited, I would give the citizens, including the people of Eagle Pass, a true conservative, an America First conservative, a Texas First conservative, somebody that was not ashamed to say that he voted for Trump. You remember Tony Gonzalez, how he went and got Trump's endorsement, and then he stabs him in the back, bro. He stabs him in the back by saying no to that vote by Senator Tony Gonzalez. He stabs him in the back by voting for the January 6th commission. Because we all know that commission, there's a lot of Americans that got caught up in that. There's a lot of Americans that are still in jail without medical care, without legal counsel, without seeing their families for months now. But we know that January 6th commission was really intended for President Trump. They were gunning after him. They wanted to come after him. We know that. Conservatives know that. Constitutionalists know that. And so Tony Gonzalez, it's all smoke and mirrors, brother. Don't, like they say, keep your eye on the ball. Why do those magicians say keep your eye on the ball? Because they don't want you to see what the hand is doing. They want to pull some kind of trick with the hand. And what I'm telling you is, don't look at the ball, which is all these fake stories by liberal left newspapers that are being fed by political operatives. We all know it right now, Isaac. That's why you exist, brother. Because when people want to get the truth, they can't trust the printed press. Todos saben en Eagle Pass que todos están comprados. They're in Eagle Pass. People know that those newspapers are bought. You pay them, they're going to run the stories. And so I'm talking to your fellow citizens, my fellow citizens here in Texas, and they're in Maverick County, our fellow conservatives. It's time to walk away from the Democrats that have done nothing for us. They've done nothing for our communities. We are the poorest communities on the border, bro. The poorest communities in Texas, in Maverick, in Dimmitt, in Zavala, down south. They've been ruled by Democrats for years. I'm offering you a true Tejano, a true Texan, a true patriot, a true conservative. I'm not ashamed that I love God. I'm not ashamed that I worship God. I'm not ashamed to say that I am a man of God, that I believe in the word of God, bro. That I'm an ordained minister. I was a chaplain for the Border Patrol. So Tony Gonzalez and his hitman, hit rag hatchet, vendido, Victor, they are insulting Border Patrol agents that know what I'm talking about. And remember this, Isaac. During the last election, he used a fake Border Patrol agent. ¿Te acuerdas de eso? He used a fake Border Patrol agent in his mailouts, even in his TV. And man, people were ticked off at him. I was talking to the Wives Club people from Eagle Pass, Texas. They were like, "What do we do about this guy?" And the poor thing about it, bro, is that they're in Eagle Pass. These conservatives did not have a choice in the 2020 elections. They did not have a choice because there weren't enough true patriot conservatives running in the Republican Party. And so what a lot of these conservatives had to do, they had to go vote for Democrats. There were some races that were not contested, and so they had to make a decision. Man, there's only 2 or 3 Republicans or whatever the count was in Eagle Pass, and there's more on the Democrat side. So a lot of people that are conservatives that don't agree totally with the Democrat Party, they went in. They're actually Republicans, but they went and voted in the Democrat primary, and we heard it. The reason I bring that up is because they said, "Man, we wanted to vote for Raul, but we couldn't vote in the runoff because we had already voted in the Democrat primary." So we lost a lot of votes. And I was campaign manager for Raul Reyes, bro. We lost a lot of votes because of that aspect. And so I'm telling conservatives now in the district, there's a lot of conservatives in the Democrat Party. They're saying, "Whoa, dude, this Democrat Party has gone crazy. Look at what they're trying to do. Look at inflation. Look at the critical race theory that they're pushing down our throats. Look at this invasion that's taking place in our state. Look at the way that they're messing with parents that go to school board meetings to defend their children, to go fight for their children, and they're actually going to their house and arresting them. The world has been turned upside down since January 1st. But I tell you what, we cannot afford more time with liberal Democrat Tony Gonzalez, who is a magnet for illegal invasion, for illegal aliens in CD 23. He's a true magnet for him. We even call him Liz Cheney Jr. because people hate Liz Cheney, bro, because she stabbed Trump in the back. She's totally in bed with the Democrats that want to destroy Donald Trump and in a sense destroy any patriotic, God-loving, America-loving Christian conservative or anybody that loves America, bro. I've talked to folks down in Eagle Pass that say, "Hey, Frank, we're not really Republicans because the Republican Party there in Maverick County, todos saben quién son. People know who they are. They know that they're at best progressives, is what they are down there. And they say, I am a Trump Republican." I've had people in Eagle Pass tell me that. Why? Because Trump evoked patriotism. Trump evoked love for our country. And I'll be the first to say that Tony Gonzalez got his endorsement, and he never once said anything about Trump. But what he did do was stab him in the back with his January 6th commission vote and his 2 votes against the objections of Senator Cruz. And we all know that. I remember the Facebook just blew up with that. So that's it in a nutshell. That's what's going on. Don't look at the smoke and mirrors. Don't look at the ball. Look at the hand. And so what is the hand? What are they trying to do? They want to make sure that Tony Gonzalez stays in power for another 2 years because they're getting rich off of it, bro. They're making money. It's about money. It's sad that on the left, there's a lot of good people that call themselves Democrats. They realize now that their party has been hijacked by AOC and the Green New Deal, by Nancy Pelosi and everything she's doing, by Joe Biden that, left Americans in Afghanistan, Joe Biden that abandoned our allies, Joe Biden that left our military equipment in Afghanistan. He tucked his tail between his legs and he ran. And there's a lot of Texans that are saying, whoa, that's not my party. But at the same time, they are looking at the Republican Party and they're saying, really, that's the best you have to offer us here in CD23? Liberal Democrat Tony Gonzalez, who is using our air bases to fly illegal aliens into the country. Those illegal aliens are taking COVID into Louisiana, Mississippi, Pennsylvania. They're saying that. And what I'm telling those Americans, those Texans, those patriots, those conservatives, hey, I'm your choice. I'm your choice. When I run to be on the November ballot, people in CD23 are going to have a choice between a Democrat socialist that's running for their party, between the liberal Democrat that infiltrated the Republican Party, and a true conservative patriot. And that's what I am, bro. And so that's that simple. It's just, you know what it is? It was a strategic move. Some of the people that I talked to last night, they smiled and they laughed about it. And they said, hey, we realize what you're doing. Tony needs to be taken out of office. And they're going to see what they can do about helping that happen out here in CD23. There's a lot of Texans that are awake. There's a lot of Americans that are awake. There's a lot of people that realize that we got a problem. Texas has 1,250 odd miles of Texas border. CD23 has about 820 miles of that. And right now it's in the control of an open borders liberal Democrat who was brought up in LULAC, who was defended by LULAC. And those people get money from George Soros, bro. That's the hand that people need to be watching. So anyways, Isaac.
No, yeah, you're coming out swinging for the fences, Frank, and a lot of people don't understand. Can you define what is a patriot to the people?
Yeah, bro, a patriot is somebody that loves America because America is the land of the free. It is a land of opportunity. It is a land, brother, where you can come into our country as a legal citizen, as a naturalized citizen, and you can take the change that you have in your pocket, el dinerito que traes en tu bolsa, and you can become somebody great, somebody influential. You can become a rich person. You can bless people. Patriot is somebody who understands the Constitution, understands the way that the Constitution is supposed to work, understands that when our original 13 colonies, brother, they were being ruled over by the King of England, and he was a tyrant to them. He did not consider them as full-blown citizens of the crown. He considered them as subjects. He considered them as people to be bossed around and lorded over. So those founding fathers, they got the guts, they got the spine, but they were full of the Spirit of God, brother, and they fought back against tyranny. And so a patriot understands that this country was formed with the blood of brave men and women who put it all on the altar of freedom. They sacrificed their lives to die for what America is. And look, right now, America is in trouble. We are in trouble. The Marxists on the left, brother, they want to weaken us so that the superpower China, brother, can attack us, can take over us. We are so in debt to China. Tony, does he even say anything about China, brother? Does Tony even mention China? Does he say anything about the hazard that China is to us on our southern border? You talk to people from Mexico. There's a lot of Americans that retire and go live in Mexico. and they see the growing Chinese influence down there. They're buying seaports, they're buying farms, they're buying ranches, not just in Mexico and South America, brother. They are doing it in America. Here in Valverde County, they bought that land in Valverde County. They wanted to put up those tall wind turbines out there. China is a problem. Does Tony even bother talking about that? No, hombre, bro. He gets his Sunday morning daily dose of the Vendido newspaper there in Eagle Pass, and he throws it up on his face like a coward because he won't come and face me, bro. And so I'm challenging Tony Gonzalez to a debate. As soon as I become a candidate, throw my name in March 1st after the election. Let's have some debates, Tony Gonzalez. Let's talk about how you are failing the people of District 23. And so Patriot también, he wants to take care of his neighbors. He wants to take care of his fellow countrymen. A patriot believes in the rule of law, believes in law and order. The socialists on the left want to defund the police. Why? Because they want craziness. Quieren un desmadre. Look at the riots in the city. Look at what was happening, during the Trump era. And they get upset, they get angry, and they start burning down cities, bro. Antifa and BLM and all these people running around. They get upset, they get angry, they go into stores. And out in California and other places, you've heard about it. As long as you don't steal more than $1,000, we're not going to prosecute you. That's socialism. That's Marxism. And that's what Democrats are doing to this country. Remember, man, that Tony Gonzalez is a coward. He ran away from the debates with Raul Reyes. You remember that?
Well,
Raul Reyes.
There was never a debate, right? Raul Reyes tried to set something up, but...
No, watch what happened, bro. Fernando Garcia, the former county chairman for Valverde County, set up a debate. He staged it, bro. He set it up. He announced it. I remember that there were people that were going to come from as far away as San Antonio. They were going to come from up north. They were going to come from out west, Alpine, and those places. There were people that were going to come from San Angelo and to see this, because this was a highly anticipated debate between Raul Reyes and Tony Gonzalez. And so Gonzalez allowed Fernando to run with it. But the whole time, what was happening, Tony Gonzalez had sent out notices that he was going to be having a fundraiser in San Antonio, and he scheduled it for the same day that the debate was supposed to happen in Del Rio. And brother, what happened? Fernando was left at the altar. Por rato, they left him parado, plantado. He made a fool out of him, bro, because not only did he leave Fernando at the altar, with a debate, he never showed up to a single forum that the candidates were at. And remember, I was campaign manager for Raul Reyes. I went all over the place. I think he showed up at one up there in Fair Oaks, which is northwest San Antonio. But he didn't go anywhere else because he's a coward. Tony Gonzalez, our liberal Democrat, is a coward. And I'll say that on the stage. Tony Gonzalez, show up, bro. I'll look at you and I'll say, man, you're a coward, bro. Because all you had to do was say no to DHS Alejandro Mayorkas. You did not have to allow our military air bases to be used to fly illegal aliens into our country. See, the reason he couldn't say no, bro, is because he didn't have the spine to say no. He didn't have the guts to say no to Alejandro Mayorkas. Everybody knows Alejandro Mayorkas is doing what Biden wants him to do. That's what ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is not rounding people up. They're not deporting people. And Alejandro Mayorkas is not allowing these federal agents who have sworn an oath to the Constitution to do their job. I mean, people say, well, hey, why don't they go round them up? With what? It takes money, bro. It takes money to get these buses. It takes money to go find these people, to do the research, to track them down, to gather them up. No, the money that should be used for interior enforcement is being used to fly illegal aliens into the country. And that's why I call Tony Gonzalez a coward. And not only is he a coward, bro, Tony Gonzalez is a liar, brother. He ran with that story that Raul had gotten into some trouble, had gotten fired from Southwest Texas Junior College in Uvalde. And the Reyes campaign sent a letter straight to Tony Gonzalez. They did a press release saying cease and desist or provide the proof. I mean, Raul Reyes left that job, and that's one thing that we did do. We got a what happened was a newspaper, actually, a newspaper, Kinney County, Brackettville. That newspaper, bro, and this is, you can all go research this. The newspaper in Brackettville reached out to Southwest Texas Junior College. They asked about the terms that Mr. Reyes had left that job. It was a resignation, no problem. He left his job, and after that job, Mr. Reyes went and worked at Lackland Air Force Base as a GS-13. Look, even the most simple-minded people. So that, I don't know about Victor. Victor probably wouldn't get this, bro. But even the most simple-minded people understands that you don't get hired by the federal government if you've been charged with a crime, you've been charged with embezzling or something. I know that just flew over Victor Wheeler's head because he can't quite get that. But I'll tell you what, Tony Gonzalez is a liar, and he said that about Raul Reyes, and that's the template. Isaac, I know I heard you say that. Why does he do this? Why does the Eagle Pass News leader get used by Tony Gonzalez to come against candidates that oppose him? Why? Because that's the proven template. Look, politics is dirty. It's a nasty beast. It's ugly, brother. That's why people don't want to get into politics, because they know que te van a sacar la garra. They're going to lie about you. They're going to say whatever they can to win, because it's nasty business. And so what Tony Gonzalez is doing, he lied about Raul Reyes, and now he's lying about me. They're saying that I'm going to be in legal trouble. They're saying that I'm going to be in ethical trouble. They're saying that I was excommunicated and booted out from the Republican Party. It's all lies, bro. That's all lies. I was not booted out. In effect, I resigned from it. But if I want to, next election cycle, I can go run as a precinct chair, as a county chairman somewhere. I can even run for some other office as a Republican. And I'll tell you why I can do that, because we have it happening right now. Democrats are running as Republicans. I mean, think about it. Down in HD 31, House District 31, there's a guy named Ryan Guillen down there. He just left the Democrat Party after 20-something years, I think it is, as a Democrat. Now he's a Republican. They accept him. And so I know, and talking to people know I'm a conservative. People know I'm a constitutionalist. People know I'm a patriot. People know I'm a veteran, a former Border Patrol agent that has always sought to work for my community, defend my country. And so what Tony Gonzalez and his group are doing, they're smearing, bro. And every veteran out there needs to be offended and needs to be outraged. Every Border Patrol agent, every law enforcement officer needs to be outraged at this, because he's pretty much low down, bro. He's low down. Not only is he a coward, not only is Tony Gonzalez a liar, brother, but he's pretty low down. And right now we're at a point where Texas needs fighters. Texas needs warriors. Texas needs people that are not afraid to stand up and say, stop this invasion. Stop using our tax dollars, wasting our children's future. We're tired of it. And we're tired of the games that the political parties play as well. A lot of people know what Tony Gonzalez is doing in the Republican Party, but what they say is, well, we got to keep it red, or they'll say, who has the best chance to win? I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, people are saying, hey, who do you want, Abbott or Beto? They try to use that argument. Do you want Abbott or Beto? I'm sure you heard it, bro. Look, nobody wants freaking Beto. I mean, come on, man. The guy's a moron. But I'll tell you what, Abbott does not necessarily need to be our gubernatorial candidate in November. It can be any one of the other men that's running for that office. Today, I was here and I heard Alan West speak, and the other person I heard, recently I talked to somebody from the Kyle from the Huffines camp. I met Mr. Chad Prather for the first time the other day, earlier this year, or last year actually, at an event up in Dallas. So any one of those three men could also be our gubernatorial nominee. So it's not going to be necessarily Abbott versus Beto. And so that's a straw. You know the term, Isaac. It's a straw man. They just put it up so that you'll pay attention to it, but it's an easily dissolved, easily destroyed argument, bro. So I know I went around in a long way, but to answer your question, what's a patriot? somebody that loves Texas, somebody that loves America, somebody that's going to sit here. And I'm not going to lie to you. What do I got to lie? What do I want to destroy my name for? Why am I going to get caught in a lie, brother? Why am I going to destroy my reputation? My children, I got children that I need to stand before. I got a God that I need to stand before, and I'm going to give an account someday. I've got a wife that I need to give an account to. And so it's we the people, man. That's what a patriot is. We the people. And out of and you've seen it before, e pluribus unum, out of many one, brother. And we are one. We are patriots. We're in Texas here. We're fed up with the games of the Democrats, and we're fed up with the games of the Republicans. And so what we need is a strong Texan conservative patriot, and I'm the man, brother. And so none of this, the other argument you'll hear is, you're going to split the vote, Frank. You're going to split the vote. That's the same thing, Abbott or Beto. Nah, brother, I'm not going to split the vote if people wake up and people come and vote for the true conservative. They have a choice. That's what I did for November. I gave Texans a choice. It does not necessarily need to split the vote. I'm telling conservative, red-blooded patriots in the Republican Party, come vote for the man has been working hard, pushing Republican candidates, pushing Republican patriot candidates all across the area. I'm here in Seguin. I was in Houston. I'm going to be in San Antonio here. I'm going to go throughout the district. I'm going to help people. I told some people, hey, I'll even put up your signs. I'll go and put up your highway signs. Why? Because you're conservative. You're a patriot. Yeah, you're in the Republican Party, but that's what matters to me. I'll tell you what, when conservatives in the Democrat Party come over and vote for me, and conservatives in the Republican Party come over and vote for me, we're going to take care of this Tony business, brother. He's going to be a one-termer. Tony Gonzalez is going to be a one-termer, but it's going to take political will. People that say, man, we got to keep it red. We got to vote red. No, you got to vote America first. You got to vote Patriot first. You got to vote Texas first. And it turns out, brother, I'm the real conservative. I'm the real red. I'm the real red patriot American. And let's define this another way as well, Isaac. If you want to talk about red, this is the true red that I recognize. The red blood of Jesus Christ, which he shed on the blood. That's the true red. That's the real red. People need to be careful that affiliate. They're putting party over principle. They're putting party over the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. They are willing to let a man like Tony Gonzalez, who is involved in human trafficking, the moving of women and children into our country, because he's in bed with the non-government organizations. He's in bed with Mission Border Hope. He's in bed with Endeavors. He allowed this Air Force base to be used to fly illegal aliens into our country. That's not real red, brother. That's not real red. That is the sexploitation. That is human trafficking. That is the movement of people. God only knows where they're going to wind up. God only knows what horrible things women and children are going to have to suffer, because the cartels are operating in the wide open in Mexico. And I'll tell you what, here in America, the money-hungry, greedy people are operating in broad daylight here in America, moving people into Texas, the #1 state for smuggling in America, brother. We should be ashamed. We should be ashamed. And so much for, and I'm calling out the Christians in the Democrat Party, and I'm calling out the Christians in the Republican Party. Vote for the ordained minister. Voten por este hombre de fe. Voten por este varón de Dios. Yo soy un siervo de Dios. Sí tengo un poco de fuego en mi sangre, because I am a Bible believer, brother. I have the Spirit of God. I move in the armor of God, bro. And so I'm giving people a choice in November. Tony is gone. He's going to be Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez. You heard it here first, brother. I'm going to make that a t-shirt. Tony Gonzalez, one term. Hey, Tony, you're not going to get your 5 years, sir. You're not going to get that pension that congressmen get at 5 years. We're going to work our butts off, brother, so that you don't win again. You desecrated our district. You spit on Laughlin Air Force Base. You misused the mission, the sacred mission of Laughlin Air Force Base. Let me remind you about Laughlin Air Force Base. And I was talking to a civilian that retired there, brother. He was furious at Tony Gonzalez, because he said yes to Mayorkas. Alejandro Mayorkas, que no vale para nada, bro. Everybody, Border Patrol, they all know Alejandro Mayorkas. They know he's worthless. And he said yes to him, sir. And he ran over to the Department of Defense. And he asked the Department of Defense to allow Laughlin Air Force Base to be used. Well, let me tell you something about Laughlin Air Force Base. That is where the U-2 spy missions originated out of. The U-2 spy missions that flew over Cuba, the U-2 spy missions that took pictures of Russian missiles on the island of Cuba flew out of Laughlin Air Force Base, bro, right here in Del Rio, Texas. People should be outraged. Every veteran, every civilian, every contractor, every family that benefits, every business owner in Del Rio and every business owner in the region should be outraged that this guy, Tony Gonzalez, who is a coward, said yes to Mayorkas instead of saying no. Mayorkas should have said no. I'm not. Tony should have said no to Mayorkas. I'm not gonna let that happen. Look, if I was a congressman, somebody came up to something crazy like that, I'm gonna say no. And then people are gonna say, well, what are you gonna do with all those illegal aliens? Send them back to the country that they came from. They just crossed the river from Mexico. Catch them, scoop them up, put them in a van, put them in those big white buses, take them to the port of entry and say, hey, Mexico, here you go. You let them come over, you take care of that. That's your problem. You didn't take care of them at the border with Guatemala. You didn't stop them down there. They marched all the way up through Mexico, and they beat up your police officers, and they stomped on your sovereignty down there. We're not going to let that happen here in our country. But instead, Tony Gonzalez caved in, bro. He caved in basically because he's a coward, man. Remember, he was going to run in Congressional District 35. He was going to run against Lyle Doggett. You remember that? I can see it. And he had actually signed up in the Federal Election Commission, FEC, to run against Lyle Doggett. And yep. So what happened was he jumped over to CD23. And why did he jump over to CD23? Hey, people, don't forget Will Hurd. He jumped over here because Will Hurd asked him to run in this district. Will Hurd, the congressman, no servía para nada aquí. He wasn't any good. Will Hurd was in the back pocket of the technology companies. He sits on boards for cybersecurity companies. He was in their back pocket. So Will Hurd asked him to come over, and so Tony Gonzalez got a lot of money from Will Hurd. And so sad to say, bro, well, it is what it is. The guy's been a puppet, bro. He's a puppet. He's a puppet for LULAC. Tony Gonzalez is a puppet for Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy is a Republican majority leader, and so Tony does whatever Kevin tells him. And he's also a puppet for Dan Crenshaw. He votes with Dan Crenshaw. I showed you that chart. Tony is a purple guy. He is the real purple guy in this district. Meanwhile, the rest of us are conservatives. We're the true conservatives. And that's why the moment that I started talking to people about what I was planning to do, they were like, right on. We're going to get rid of Tony Gonzalez. Finally, you're doing it in a different way, in a way that we didn't expect, but it's a smart, tactical, strategic way. So anyways, brother, we're really working down here, to spread the conservative message. I'm talking to people. I'm still helping candidates that are Republicans, but they're conservatives. Because look, not everybody that says they're a Republican is a real Republican. You have that problem down there in Eagle Pass, brother. You got people that call themselves conservatives that say they're Republicans, and I've heard it from the mouths of people down there. They don't even consider themselves Republicans. They consider themselves Trump Republicans. Why? Because those are the kind of people that say what they mean and they do what they say they were going to do. They stick to their promises. Son hombres. Tony Gonzalez ran around and said he was going to fight socialism. I just showed you the chart. He's the number 2 most Democrat voting guy in the House of Representatives. That's a Republican, brother. He's purple. You even said it yourself. He's purple, and he's right in the middle. There's only one guy. He's in the purple side. There's only one guy that votes more liberal than he does, that votes more with the socialists than Tony does. And I'll get that name ahorita, and I'll call it out. If you can get me that name of that number 2 guy that votes with the Democrats. Anyways, I know that's a lot, Isaac. Hey, man, I'm a preacher, brother. I can preach for hours, but I also I know what's right, and I'm not afraid to fight for what is right. I'm not afraid to say no to people that want to rape America's sovereignty. I'm not afraid to say no to illegal aliens, bro. We have a naturalization process. I'm not afraid to say no to people that want to sell out America. As a matter of fact, I'm going to fight against people that want to sell out America. So, anyways, the number one guy here.
See, would you contribute? Because I know, I don't know how it is right now in Valverde County and Del Rio, but one of the things that is developing here in Eagle Pass, Maverick County, is that our COVID numbers are starting to shoot up again.
Well, yeah.
Now, around the same time, we're seeing a lot of those white buses coming in. I think you coined the term, or maybe I heard it somewhere else. Little, what was it called? Oh man, it's escaping me right now. But little Haiti, over here, Mission Border Hope, a la Mission Border Hope, is business as usual. While people are coming around, walking up and down, and all of this is going on, while related to that, our numbers are shooting up again.
Yeah.
Do you think that has a direct relation with what's happening here?
Yeah, there was a congressman out of Louisiana, Mike Johnson, bro. Mike Johnson was outraged that illegal aliens were loading up and Tony's Tours and Travel Services out of Laughlin Air Force Base. They were loading up there. I'm gonna call Tony the transport. I'm gonna call him Tony the Transporter también, bro, because he's in the business of transporting people. So hashtag Tony the Transporter. Anyways, those flights were going to Louisiana, England Air Force Base. They were landing in Alexandria, Louisiana. That's where England Air Force Base is at. And he was outraged, first of all, that nobody told him about this. They were snuck into his state. There were these people started wandering around the streets of his state, his district, and they brought with them COVID, and they started getting a spike in COVID over there. I have no doubt about it. It's COVID is spiking in these communities. These communities of people that are crossing our border illegally because they're not being checked. They're not being vaccinated. They're not at a time when our own government is firing people here in our country because they're pushing companies to fire people if they don't get vaccinated. These people are not being vaccinated. And I'll tell you what, the spike of COVID that took place in the district of Mike Johnson, I sent communication to the Mike Johnson offices. Hey, you need to put the blame for the COVID spike at the feet of Congressman, liberal Democrat Tony Gonzalez. He's a liberal. He infiltrated the Republican Party, and he is to blame for that spike of COVID in Louisiana because they were being flown out from our airbase straight there. And any deaths that happen are at the feet of Tony Gonzalez, bro. That's his fault. He should have said no. He should have said no. And when Border Patrol says, well, what do you want us to do with these people? Send them right back to Mexico, man. Well, what about the process and all that? Really? The process is a sham right now. The process is a joke under the Biden administration. Everybody knows this, man. Everybody knows that the vast majority of these people are going to be processed. They're going to come into America, and they are going to continue, voting for socialists. Now there's a little bit of ray of light in there, and you've seen it in my videos. I've gone down here and I've talked to these people. Specifically the Cubans and the Venezuelans. Los cubanos y las personas de Venezuela, they know, brother. They know what communism is. They know what it's like to live under a dictator. And so there's a little bit of a ray of hope that these people, when they come over and they see what the Biden administration's doing, that they're pushing us towards socialism, towards Marxism, hopefully, that they're not going to vote for people like that. But that's when we need to have true constitutional conservative patriots like me, and there's others, brother. There's others out there that see that the Democrat Party is willing to allow people like liberal Tony Gonzalez. They're willing to allow them. Why? Because he raises money. Dan Crenshaw raises money. Other people like Governor Abbott raise money. They're willing to let him stay in power because of money, that's a shame for the Republican Party. That's a shame for the party that says, you know, the Democrats are terrible, evil people. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of good people in the Democrat Party. There's a lot of conservatives, a lot of patriots, a lot of Texas-loving people in the Democrat Party. And I'm giving you a choice in November to come and vote for me, bro. To come and vote for the true Texan, El Tejano Verdadero, the one that is going to fight. I'm not afraid to fight, bro. I'm not. So, got any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've covered the majority of what we were kind of going towards here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I do want to, I guess, emphasize a little bit,
Yeah.
and why we wanted to bring you on, because I mean, it's very rare without paying any money that you get on the Eagle Pass newsletter front page. You know,
wow. So cobra mucho, they charge a lot, bro.
That's what I hear. I don't know. I mean, whenever I give any quotes on my media stuff, they said, you know, these people charge a lot of money, and then they hear what I charge, and you know, they're kind of surprised and stuff. But it's I wanted to give the opportunity, as we always have for anybody else, to give their other side, because you hear something coming out as strongly as they come out. And in other newspapers as well, and they don't give the side or the platform, you know, the other side, the mic. Like, okay, let's hear your side of the story, and that's what we. Want to hear from you.
And you're right there, Isaac. I didn't get a call. It's hypocritical, bro. Mira, you heard the old say, you point one finger at somebody else, there's four other fingers pointing at you. They talk about ethics. They talk about questionable behavior or whatever, and it's an editorial. All that is really. The opinion of Victor Wheeler, you know, El Vendido, who I'll remind you is married to the director of Mission Border Hope, who is moving people into the heartland of America. They're facilitating the sexploitation of women and children. That's what it is. You know, there was a statistic that went out that 40% of children that go into Health and Human Services, you know, custody and get released, they lose track of 40% of the children, Isaac. They lose them. So it's hypocritical that they would talk about ethics when they didn't even bother to pick up the phone. They didn't reach out to me. They didn't ask me, hey, we're going to write the story. We'd like to ask you, ask you some questions. We want to get your perspective. Nothing. It was a straight up hit job, a straight up editorial hit job, a gun for hire, bro. That's what we call a hatchet man. A hatchet man. Now, if people don't understand what a hatchet man is, I'll tell you what. This is what it is. It's a person. Like, I'll give you an example. A leader. Let's just say the leader of a company. He wants to be seen as the clean CEO, the clean owner of the company, the nice guy. He walks up and down the halls there, and he smiles at people, and you know he chats with them. But what he does, his number two, is the hatchet man, and he'll smile in the face of a guy and say, "Hey, man, good work, keep it up. You know, you're going to go far in this company." But then he goes to his number two, his hatchet man, and he says, "That guy I just talked to, that guy I just smiled at, that guy who I just gave the Judas kiss to, fire him, kick him out on the street." That's a hatchet man. The hatchet man does the dirty work for the guy that wants to be seen as Mr. Clean. And who wants to be seen as Mr. Clean here? Tony Gonzalez, because he's a liar, bro, and he's a coward. And I invited him to Valverde County numerous times. I texted his campaign staff and his official representatives down there, Michelle Fagan and Evan Albertson, his campaign manager, and Michael Blair. And I said, hey, come down to Del Rio. We'll get the biggest venue. We will invite everybody that wants to come. But this is the condition. It's open mic, no pre-submitted questions, and we stick a camera up in your face and we record everything you say. And of course, he never came, bro. He doesn't want to be held accountable. He's a liar and he's a coward, brother. There is no other way about it. And so right now, at a time when Texas needed its elected representatives to stand up and defend our sovereignty and fight for our sovereignty and say, no, we're not going to let these people come through our region. I'm not going to let these people come through the 820 something miles that I'm in charge of. He didn't say anything. As a matter of fact, he went to Senator John Cornyn. He went to Henry Cuellar, the congressman from Laredo, who's a Democrat, and he went to Senator Sinema, the Democrat from Arizona, and they submitted a bill to get this, bro. Submitted a bill to build at least 4 new mega processing centers for asylum cases. Why? Because they wanted to quadruple the speed of people coming into our country. They wanted to quadruple the number of people coming into our country. I ain't making that up, bro. That's in the National Register or with a House of Representatives clerk. It's on the internet. It's out there. I didn't make that up. They wanted to quadruple the speed of these people, and people need to be smart, bro. You need to research, man. Don't just because comes around and he smiles and he shakes people's hands and he throws a lot of money at candidates. Don't take that blood money, man. Don't take that blood money. It's better to get $5 from somebody that worked hard and sweated for it, and it's a real sacrifice for them to give $5 than to take the max from a corporation that is going to want you to sell out your fellow American citizens. You go look at the FEC records for Tony Gonzalez. Go look at all the people that give money to them. Go research them. Go see what they're involved in. Yeah. So I'll tell you what. There's another aspect, and I just remembered something here, bro. Right now it's primary season. People are getting mailouts. They're getting mailouts. They're getting in their mailbox, and I don't know if you've seen them, but it says Tony Gonzalez will fight against backlogs in asylum cases. Tony Gonzalez will fight against backlogs in asylum cases. In other words, se están atrasando. Asylum cases are backing up. And so imagine you're on the highway, you got all these cars that are backing up. Why? Because there's an accident, 2 miles up the road. Mm-hmm. So what that mailer is saying, he's gonna fight against that pileup. He's gonna fight against that backlog. He's gonna fight against that traffic jam. And so how do you fight against it, bro? You remove any obstacles to people getting asylum. You make it easier for people to get asylum. And so that's what he's doing in that same mailer. And I got it. I'll throw it up on my Facebook page. I'm going to be throwing all this stuff up to build a case against Tony Gonzalez. The fact that he's a liberal Democrat, open borders. He's a coward. He's a liar. Sometimes you got to wonder, man, is the guy even smart about what he's doing? I mean, he's not really even smart about what he's doing. People can see through what he's doing. People see that he's using Victor Wheeler as his hatchet man. I mean, man, bro, that's not too smart. I mean, people can see that. And it's people have commented on that. What does Tony think he's doing? He's not being very smart about it. So, good night. So, anyways, you need to look at those mailers. And one of those mailers, Isaac, and I'll send you the information. I'll post it and everything. It's being put out by this organization. It's called the Libre Institute. The Libre Institute, Libre Freedom Institute. It says that the mailers are coming out from McAllen, but you look at it closer. I think it's called People for the American Way or something like that. And so you need to research those groups, bro. But basically, they are for quote unquote immigration reform. So when you hear that immigration reform, that's code for making it easier for people to come into the country, usually through amnesty. Immigration reform, and you'll see it. We've got to, have common sense immigration reform. Common sense immigration reform is code for amnesty. It's code for DACA amnesty. Look, we have a naturalization process, Isaac. I was Border Patrol for 30 years. I've consulted with people in ICE. I've consulted with people that were immigration examiners, immigration inspectors, adjudication officers, adjudications judges. We have a system in place. What the Biden administration has done is they have flooded that process. And what Alejandro Mayorkas did, he took the power away from ICE to do their job, to deport people and to house people. And that's why Border Patrol can't turn them over to ICE, because ICE is not going to house them. So Border Patrol has to turn them over to the NGOs like Mission Border Hope and Annunciation House in El Paso. Annunciation House is run by a guy, the pastor out there, who said he stands in solidarity. He said, we stand in solidarity with BLM, with Black Lives Matter, bro. He says that Black Lives Matter, for you Christians out there, you need to understand, Black Lives Matter wants to destroy the nuclear family. It was on their webpage. People talked about it. It was all over the internet. They seek to destroy the nuclear family. And the pastor of Annunciation House aligns with them. He stands in solidarity with them. And Tony Gonzalez went over there and visited them, and he said they're doing God's work. That's not a conservative, brother. That's not a conservative. A true conservative would not stand with an organization that wants to dissolve the family, because the family has been instituted by God. God is the one that designated the meaning and the role of the family, the husband, the wife, and the children. That's what God did. And so this guy's not a conservative, man. And they're attacking me. I saw one guy post, hey, you're running as an independent. That means you were never a conservative. Man, it just, I don't know, man. I don't know how people like that function in our society. You don't have to be, bro, a conservative and be necessarily aligned with the Republican Party. There's conservative people in the Democrat Party. Maybe they're waking up, finally they're saying, whoa, I have more in common with the Republican Party than I do with the Democrat Party of today, because it's far left and it's going over the cliff far left. But they also don't want to come to a Republican Party that has people like Tony Gonzalez, who are liberal Democrat infiltrators. And they're waking up. There are people in the Republican Party at this meeting last night. I heard it. I heard a lot of people there that they're Republicans, but they also have wakened to the fact that the Republican Party has been taken over, or they're trying to take it over by the likes of Dan Crenshaw and other progressives, other moderates, other liberals. They want to take it over. They want to do to the Republican Party what they've done to the Democrat Party. And so that's why people like me decided to run as an independent, to give you a true choice in November, bro. And so there's another guy, I'll tell you about it. I'll put you in connection with him. I would think it would be interesting to get him on your TV show. Ismael Garcia. He's running in San Antonio as an independent, Isaac. He's running as an independent because he knows that in Bexar County, it's a swamp in there. It's the uni party. Democrats are in bed with Republicans and vice versa. There are a lot of those people that supported Tony Gonzalez, and they realized they made a huge mistake. He stabbed Trump in the back, and then his policies are not conservative. So some people, they're all waking up, and there's hope for them. And the hope for them is voting for a guy like me, man. A true patriot, a true conservative, a true Texan, constitutional Christian who's going to fight for what is right. I'm not going to bend, bro. I'm not going to break. I'm not going to dishonor my family. I'm not going to bring dishonor to my God, brother. I'm going to go and I'm going to fight for the children that are being exploited. And I'm going to fight for the people of this district. They need to be represented by men of honor, not liars like Tony Gonzalez, not cowards like Tony Gonzalez, but people who stand on principle. And Tony Gonzalez is sold out. And that's why it's easy for him to go to a vendido like Victor and ask him to be his hatchet man, bro. And so that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. We've been seeing several things that are out of place for our community. I do say that, you know, we were born, especially people in Eagle Pass, Maverick County, with the sense of, you know, Democrat. But I believe we're out of place with what our true value is.
Yeah,
we're conservatives when it comes down to it. Now, I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention. I know we went over our usual hour here, but I don't know if any last words you want to say.
Yeah, I do, bro. Somebody might say, so what's a conservative? I'll tell you what a conservative. Si tú amas a tu familia, you're a conservative. If you love your family, you're a conservative. If you want your family to succeed, you're a conservative. If you want the best for your children, you're a conservative. If you want your children to grab a hold of all the opportunities of our country. You're a patriotic conservative. If you love God, you're a conservative, brother. If you believe in freedom, you're a conservative. If you're a veterano and you went and fought for your country and you would have died for your country, for the freedoms and for the Constitution that we defend, you are a patriot. You have conservative values because you're not for Marxism. You're not for socialism. You're not for communism. If you were a military member, you went and fought and you were willing to die for our country. That makes you a patriot. And those are conservative values. The narrative, the story has been flip-flopped over. And so that's why I'm telling people the days of people telling you how to vote are over. They do it on the Democrat side, bro. They tell you, go vote for this, vote por este, vote. They go and pick up people in busloads and they go, and get their votes and all that stuff. But the Republicans do the same thing. And how do they do it? They say, keep it red, vote red. They'll say, keep an R in the win column. They'll say stuff like, yeah, he's not our best choice, but hold your nose and vote for him because he's red. What they're doing is they're wanting you to be sheeple. They're wanting to crack the whip on you. And what they're saying is, we are your master and we're going to tell you how to vote. And what I'm telling all conservatives and patriots on the Democrat Party and in the Republican Party, come vote for the guy that's going to fight for you. I'm going to fight, brother. Kevin McCarthy needs to be called out. Scalise needs to be called out. Dan Crenshaw needs to be called out. There are fighters, there are warriors in Congress right now, brother, that need a person like me to go up there and help him fight for American values and fight against the establishment cancer that is growing in the Republican Party. And that's what I'm going to go do, bro. I'm going to go fight. Why? Because our country is in trouble and we can no longer sit on the sidelines and we can no longer be angry at the computer, but you got to do what I'm doing. Step out, put your money where your mouth is, and go fight for America. Go fight for Texas. And that's it, bro.
All right. Well, Frank, we really appreciate you joining
Yes,
us
sir.
And everything. And we hope to hear from you again.
Anytime, bro.
Soon. We really like whenever we had previous shows and today's show as well with Frank, guys. Frank Lopez Jr., U.S. Border Patriot, former Border Patrol. He was in the service. He knows exactly what is going down in the front lines of this our border community between Valverde, Maverick County. We both see, twin counties, if you want to call it. We see, a lot of the same things you guys do. We appreciate the work you've been doing out there, Frank. And if anything we can help you out, please let us know.
10-4. Sounds good, brother.
All right. Well, take care, Frank. Thank you.
Hey, Isaac, take care. Thanks for having me on your show. And to your audience, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless Texas and God bless America, man. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Guys, again, that was Frank Lopez Jr., U.S. Border Patriot. We appreciate having him on. We've seen him on his videos. His videos get a lot of views of all the illegal immigration that has been going on. People crossing it there in Valverde County. He has visited also Maverick County to show you what is going on in the region, in the border, what the true story is, not what these national corporate news feeds out there are trying to tell us, but Ground Zero through his phone, through his camera, explaining to the community, our community, what is really going on out there. So again, guys, I appreciate you joining in for this special interview. You heard it from Frank himself. He's eligible to run as an independent for Congressional District, Texas Congressional District 23. And he'll be taking the fight to Mr. Lira, that's coming out from the Democratic Party, and Tony Gonzalez, that's coming out from the Republican Party. We want to remind you guys, this podcast is brought to you by the re-elect Roberto Ruiz for Commissioner Precinct 4 Maverick County campaign. Guys, get out there, and the most important thing to do is vote. We have early voting starting in February. So we need you guys to get out there and vote. Be sure you vote for somebody that you have done your due diligence. researched a little bit about and what they are about. And hopefully you will choose the right candidate for Precinct 4. Again, this show was brought to you by the re-elect Roberto Ruiz for Maverick County Commissioner, Precinct 4. Guys, we want to thank y'all for joining in. As always, we'll be bringing you these shows every week. You know, the political season is upon us, and we'll be giving you live updates on our page through these podcasts as soon as we get any more info. Thank you for joining us on the Rising Texan podcast.